She told me the gym was changing her life. I just didn't know it was because of him. My name is Ryan, I'm 28, and I used to believe that supporting your partner's goals was the key to a healthy relationship. If they wanted to study, you cheered them on. If they wanted to change jobs, you backed them up. And if they wanted to get in shape, you carried their water bottle to the car and told them you were proud. That's exactly what I did when my girlfriend, Maya, decided she wanted to join a gym. She wasn't out of shape or anything like that, but she'd been feeling stressed from work, talking about how tired she felt all the time, how she hated the way her clothes fit. One night over dinner, she looked me straight in the eye and said, "I need a change, Ryan. I need to do something for myself." I smiled and said, "Then let's do it. I'll support you." At first, I thought I'd join with her. I imagined us side by side on treadmills, laughing through failed attempts at squats. But Maya wanted to do it her way. "You don't have to come," she told me. "I kind of want this to be my own thing." I didn't question it. Everyone needs space. Everyone needs a place where they can breathe. For her, the gym was that place. Maya signed up with a trainer almost immediately. His name was Dylan, and from the way she described him, you'd think he was a miracle worker. "Dylan really knows what he's doing," she said one evening, stretching on the living room floor. "He fixed my form on squats today, and wow, I feel muscles I never even knew existed." That became a theme. Dylan said this. Dylan showed me that. Dylan recommended this meal plan. At first I didn't mind. She was excited. I was glad she had someone motivating her. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't sting sometimes. When your girlfriend comes home glowing, talking nonstop about another man, even if he's just her trainer, it's hard not to notice. Still, I told myself it was fine. I wanted her to feel strong, confident, happy. And honestly, at the beginning, she did. She smiled more, laughed easier, carried herself with a confidence I hadn't seen in months. We went out for dinner one Saturday, and she wore a dress that had been sitting in her closet for years. She twirled in front of the mirror before we left and said, "I feel like myself again." I meant it when I told her she looked amazing. But even in that moment, I couldn't ignore the thought that slipped into my head. Would she have looked at me the same way if Dylan were sitting across from her instead of me? The more time passed, the more the gym became her second home. She went almost every day, sometimes twice. If she wasn't working, she was training. If she wasn't training, she was texting Dylan about macros or asking him for advice on supplements. One night she came home late, sweaty and tired, and said she'd stayed after a session to stretch and talk through some goals. I believed her. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? But something about the way she avoided my eyes that night stayed with me. I brushed it off, told myself I was After all, I was the one who encouraged her to do this. I was the one who said I'd support her, and she seemed happier than ever. How? Could I be suspicious of that? I didn't know then that while I was celebrating her growth, someone else was stepping into the space I thought belonged to me. At first, I told myself everything was fine, better than fine. Maya was glowing, energized, talking about goals and progress like she'd found a new purpose. But slowly, the glow started to look less like happiness and more like distance. The first red flag was her schedule. She used to come home from work around 6. We'd cook together, maybe watch a show before bed, but now she'd text me, "Going to the gym, don't wait up." 9 o'clock became 10, 10 became 11. Sometimes she didn't get back until after midnight. When I asked why she was staying so late, she'd shrugged. "Extra cardio." Dylan says consistency is key. I believed her, or I wanted to. Then came the conversations, or lack of them. Before, she'd tell me every detail of her day. Now, all her stories started with Dylan. Dylan says I should switch to free. Wait, Dylan thinks I should up my protein? Dylan says I have great potential. I smiled, nodded, tried to be supportive. But inside, each mention of his name chipped away at me. One night, I joked, "You talk about Dylan more than me these days." She laughed, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Don't be insecure, Ryan. He's just my trainer." Just that word echoed in my head. The physical changes were obvious too. She bought new gym outfits, tight leggings, sports bras, tank tops she never wore before. She started taking longer showers, spending more time on her hair and makeup, even when she said she was only going to train. When I teased her since, "When do you put on perfume for the gym?" she snapped, "Why are you always checking up on me?" Can't I take care of myself without you questioning it? It wasn't what she said, it was how defensive she sounded. Then came the missed plans. We'd book a dinner reservation. Last minute, she'd cancel. Dylan added an extra session tonight. I can't skip. We'd plan a weekend hike. She'd back out. I'm sore from training. It felt like every part of our life together was being canceled around Dylan. The worst moment was when I tried to surprise her. One Saturday, I finished work early and thought I'd swing by the gym. I figured I'd catch her mid-workout, cheer her on, maybe even bring her a smoothie. But when I walked in, I didn't see her on a treadmill or lifting weights. I saw her and Dylan sitting too close on a bench in the corner, talking and laughing like no one else existed. He touched her arm when he said something. She leaned in, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in weeks. When she noticed me, her whole face changed. She jumped up, startled, guilt flashing across her features before she masked it with a nervous grin. Ryan, what are you doing here? I was just surprising you. My voice felt heavy, unnatural. She stammered something about cooling down after a tough session. Dylan gave me a polite nod, like nothing was wrong. But I couldn't shake the image of how they looked before they realized I was watching. That night, she acted normal. Normal. She cooked dinner, asked about my day, laughed at a dumb movie we watched. But for me, the air between us had shifted. Every touch felt rehearsed. Every smile felt forced. Friends started to notice too. Sophie, the same friend who'd once comforted me through college breakups, pulled me aside. Ryan, are you sure everything's okay with you and Maya? I saw her at the coffee shop the other day. She wasn't alone. Who was she with? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Sophie hesitated. Her trainer. They looked close. By then, the red flags weren't red anymore. They were fire alarms. And I couldn't keep pretending I didn't hear them. Suspicion can eat you alive. It whispers, it scratches, it makes you doubt every word and every smile. But once you have proof, there's no going back. One Friday evening, Maya told me she'd be at the gym late again. Dylan wants me to try a new routine, she said, grabbing her bag. Something inside me snapped. I couldn't keep sitting on the couch, waiting like a fool. So I grabbed my keys and followed her. The gym parking lot was half empty when I pulled in. Through the big glass windows, I could see the weight racks and treadmills, but no sign of Maya. My chest tightened. I walked inside, nodded to the receptionist, and headed toward the training area. And that's when I saw them. Maya and Dylan weren't on the floor with everyone else. They were in the back studio, lights dimmed, music low. I stopped at the doorway. She was sitting on a mat, laughing at something he said. He crouched close, too close, his hand brushing her knee as naturally as if it belonged there. It wasn't training. It wasn't professional. It was personal, intimate. For a moment, I just stood there, frozen, hoping I was wrong, hoping there was some explanation. But then Dylan leaned in, whispering something in her ear. She smiled in a way she hadn't smiled at me in weeks, soft, glowing, private. And then he kissed her. Quick, certain, like it wasn't the first time. The air left my lungs. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. I pushed the door open. The sound made them jerk apart, both their faces pale. Maya's eyes went wide, her mouth opening with a gasp. Dylan straightened, guilt written all over him. Ryan, she stammered, scrambling to her feet. I held up my hand, my voice shaking with fury. Don't say a word. Dylan tried to step forward. It's not what it looks like. I laughed, the sound bitter. Don't you dare feed me that line. I saw everything. Maya's hands trembled. Please, Ryan, I can explain. Explain what? I snapped. That my girlfriend, the woman I trusted, has been sneaking around with her trainer. That every late night session, every missed plan, every lie was just a cover for this. Tears filled her eyes. It wasn't supposed to happen. Wasn't supposed to happen. My voice broke. You let it happen. Over and over again. You chose it. The room was silent except for the muffled music and my ragged breathing. Finally, I shook my head. You didn't just betray me, Maya. You humiliated me. And you, I turned to Dylan. My fists clenched. You knew she was taken. You knew, and you didn't care. He dropped his gaze, shame flickering across his face. I took a step back, my voice low but firm. We're done. Both of you. I won't be part of this triangle you built behind my back. Maya reached for me, tears spilling. Ryan, please, I pulled away. Save your apologies for someone who believes them. And with that, I walked out, the sound of the door slamming echoing behind me. Outside, the night air felt heavy. My chest hurt, my vision blurred, but I kept moving. Because proof doesn't just break your heart, it forces you to act. And I knew, without question, that nothing between us would ever be the same again. When betrayal finally hits you, the hardest part isn't the anger, it's the emptiness. After I walked out of that gym, I didn't answer Maya's calls. I didn't respond to her texts. For 3 days straight, my phone buzzed with her name lighting up the screen, but I let it ring until it stopped. At first, she begged, then she apologized, then she tried to justify it. And finally, silence. Dylan never reached out. Not that I expected him to. Cowards rarely do. I spent the next weeks in autopilot, work, home, sleep, repeat. The apartment felt colder, emptier without her, things scattered around, but it also felt cleaner, like I'd scrubbed poison out of my life. Friends asked what happened. I told them the truth, piece by piece. Most weren't surprised. We saw the signs, one said gently. We just didn't know how to tell you. The truth is, I'd seen the signs too. I just didn't want to believe them. One night, I walked past the gym on my way home. The lights were still on, music pulsing faintly through the glass. I stopped for a moment, watching the silhouettes moving inside. For a second, the old ache twisted in my chest. But then I turned away because the gym wasn't the problem. Trust was, and once it's broken, it doesn't come back. So now I ask you, if you discovered your partner was secretly involved with their trainer, would you confront them in the moment or walk away without a word?